divines call them thin places. Places where heaven and earth seem to somehow almost overlap. To be in a thin place is to be in the present, in the real world, but at the same time, it is to see, or sometimes even to feel like you can almost touch the world of God as well. The Irish poet Charlene Sledge describes thin places, both seen and unseen, as places where the door between the world and the next is cracked open just for a few moments. And the light that oftentimes we speak of that we'll see on the other side, he says, surprisingly, oftentimes there's light coming from both sides. Celtic spirituality associated thin places most often with those wild Irish landscapes. Rugged mountaintops, wind-swept islands, rugged sea coasts that continue to be places of pilgrimage for Christians to this very day. Any place or encounter in which one experiences a sense of the holy, the divine, the sacred, you could call a thin place. Theologian Margie writes that a thin place is where our hearts are finally opened. They're places where the boundary between two levels becomes soft, almost porous, permeable. Thin places are places where the veil that sometimes covers our ability to see suddenly is lifted, and we can see and behold what's in front of us. Oh, the Irish saints consider those moments of death to be the ultimate thin places, that plane where the reality of existence overlaps with suddenly the existence beyond. For Margie, for Mom, for your grandmother or great-grandmother, she's truly traveled through this thin place, from this life to the life of God, a God in whom she truly believed. And over these months, Margie and I had many conversations about that which she was taught, that which she believed. And of course, all of you, knowing Margie, know that she wasn't afraid to tell you if she disagreed with something that you might think or speak. But we believe that thin place was just not all that long ago when Mom finally made that journey from this life to the next, that thin place in God's dwelling. And through these last weeks, you have kind of stood in the doorway of eternity, saying goodbye. Goodbye and remembering memories and stories and experiences, all the good and the bad as well. At the time of death, all that comes back to us, and we remember. But the best thing about Christian faith is to believe that all the things that have held Margie bound, all the things that have been difficult or even painful in life, she's now free from all of them. And the existence in that thin place when we finally travel from this world to the next is with that understanding and from a perspective of Christian faith, that she's finally free. And truly, that last time that I was at the condo and spent some time in conversation with her, and even a little more than conversation, it didn't matter, she was in the midst of confession. Father, you look tired. You need a little something. So actually, for about the last year, she's kept me supplied. She came to Mass. I gave her communion and a blessing, and she gave me a bottle of Dewar's.
Oh my God.
A thin place, you might say, and the two worlds suddenly see eye to eye. But truly, that last visit was difficult. It was difficult to watch how complicated it was between her walking and the oxygen to get out of the chair just to be able to go to the restroom. And of course, she had a beautiful, beautiful new chair, which she was very excited about. And as soon as I arrived, she pointed out her new chair, which of course she wasn't sitting in because she hadn't mastered it yet. And so she said, well, with your MS, you have your own issues. You sit in the chair. So it looked like a brand new chair, so I sat down just kind of on the edge, grabbed that remote. No, sit back, relax. Take a load off your feet. Just have fun, have a laugh. And then, of course, and just say, and of course, my daughter told me that when I don't need the chair anymore, she's going to give it to her father. Which she, Margie, was quite amused by. So she said, oh, you got two for the price of one. So Bill, you got a chair coming to you, and it's very comfortable, and it works quite well. Not only can you go back, but if you can't get up, it sits you up, and it stands you up in an upright position.
She did.
It's a perfect chair to have in your living room.
She did. I think she
And
signed
from
it too.
Margie's perspective,
I'm so.
that's Margie. That was her to a T. And through these weeks, you've all traveled with Margie through the thin places. But there are moments of grace, moments of forgiveness, moments of reconciliation, moments of compassion, and even celebrations of joy. Wherever and whenever we experience God's presence is one of those thin places. For Margie, born and raised in the city of Detroit, I mentioned baptized, in fact, on Our Lady, Gate of Heaven, in that old neighborhood. She was baptized, being the third of 4 children. Hers was a good upbringing, with frequent trips to her mom's hometown in Barrie, Ontario. It was from her mom, an English teacher, that Margie picked up some of her habits, especially if they had to do with doing things in the proper way and fashion. Something that would stay with Margie for her whole life. Even that last visit in her bathrobe, but still dressed and her hair coiffed perfectly, wearing jewelry. She was beautiful. It was in 1960 that Margie graduated from Teresa High School, St. Teresa High School, but as the story goes, that she actually began at Immaculata. But it wasn't her thing. All girls. It wasn't herself, or it was a thing that she just needed to kind of move away from. And so when a new opportunity came for a new high school, after the first year, Margie could have, in a particular way about her, found a new place to be. St. Teresa's High School, and that's where Margie and Bill met. Following high school, Bill and Marines, and the two were married November 24th of 62. It was a relationship of 42 years, raising a family and building a business, before each, in many ways, went their separate paths. But I think the last time that I was with Margie, Bill, you had been there either that morning or the day before. It was also just after high school that both of Margie's parents passed away, just a year apart from one another. A move followed the wedding to the Marines base in Beaufort, South Carolina. And then with Bill finally discharged, the couple moved to the Flint area. It was the first of many moves, including stops in Livonia, Heartland, Farmington Hills, and Plymouth. Life was a busy one in the Cunner household, with Margie focused on her family. Christmas was always busy, having Christmas Eve with her family, and then over to Bill's family for Christmas Day with a love of entertaining. Holidays, family, business events, they were all perfect for Margie. She was completely delighted and completely intrigued, knowing that I had grown up in the state of Rhode Island, growing up in a house that overlooked the Atlantic Ocean. My dad having been the French consul for the state of Rhode Island in southeastern Massachusetts. And she loved reviewing some of the guest lists of the parties that were held at my parents' home when I was growing up, because, of course, she loved anything social. She even asked, in one of her visits sitting in my office with me, if I could define for her if there were 5 forks on your left side, if I knew what each fork and which course of the meal it was to be utilized for. I think she was thinking that she was going to trip me up. You should have seen her expression when very rapidly I told her what all forks were used for. She said, "Oh, why didn't I meet you 50 years ago?" Everything would have been perfect. Those family memories, of course, it was always with those events, because she was the ultimate hostess. Being able to bring people together, making them feel welcomed, and always creating memories. The summer house on Lake Charlevoix, being on the boat or just near the water, certainly always a place that Margie loved. But Margie certainly had her way of doing things and could be maybe a little bit strong-willed from time to time. She certainly had a very kind and compassionate side, one which she shared with me. So regularly, if she watched me struggling on the stairs, she would always either send a little note or leave a voicemail message that she was just saying a prayer, that I was feeling better today, or that the rest of the day would be easier for me than it had seemed earlier in the day. And of course, she was supportive in the various business ventures through the years. Her Irish side, of course, which included devotion to the Blessed Trinity as well as to the Blessed Mother, hence the reason that we did the Ave before we began today. Her faith was an important part, though it was only about a year and a half ago that she joined Our Lady of Victory. It was truly a part of her life that I was able to share with her, and to be able to anoint her on that last visit that we shared together. And these last months, from January of 2024 until her passing on November 6th, difficult days. But so grateful to her children and to friends who were so kind to her and phoned her or dropped by to see her and made sure that she had what she needed. In fact, she asked that in her name, I thank those of you who were there to help along the way. Because she said, it wasn't always my strong point to say thank you or to say that I was sorry. I want everyone to know how appreciative, truly, I was through all of these years for the kindness that was bestowed upon me, and how blessed I really was throughout my life. God had been so good to me and to my family through so many experiences, so many ventures. But now, Margie, we gather here and we celebrate because she's finally at peace. And so, Margie, as at every funeral, probably for the last at least 30 years I have done, I do for you. Until that day when we're all together again, may the angels welcome you to paradise. May the martyrs greet you on your way. this day. Alleluia, alleluia. May her soul and all the souls of the faithful departed, through the mercy of God, now rest in peace.